Hello, welcome to the Garden of Femme Occulte. I'm Belladonna, and here with me today I have Datura, Oleander, and Papaver. And we will be talking about the topic that is connected to Femme Occulte summer issue that is right now available for pre-orders on our website www.femmeocculte.com. And the main topic of this issue is courage. But after the consultation with Datura here, we decided that we will probably approach it rather from the perspective of fear. But I think that these two are so much connected that we will be just floating between these two topics altogether. We wrote several articles that are connected to courage and fear for the upcoming issue, so you can be looking forward to them, and sometimes we might just point out some of them. So I don't really have an exact question to start with. Usually we have questions, but this time we rather have topics. So first of all, I was writing about fear in one of my articles, and I think that we could just start from that point, because we all had last week our internal reduction talk, and we were reading all the articles together out loud, as we do before every printing. So we are all familiar with all the texts of other people through the corrections of the text, but also this way through the audio version. In this article that I was writing, I was talking about that we should not scare newbies, that we should not be paranoid, and I was also talking a little bit about my missteps, and maybe we could also talk about some of our creepy stories before we will move to other articles connected to fear. So is from these three topics, the scaring newbies, paranoia, and missteps, some that you would like to start with? Datura?
I think maybe we should start talking about fear in general.
We can.
The purpose of fear itself, because scaring newbies is an interesting topic that we will get to. but in general, I think fear is a very helpful emotion if approached right, listened to, but not if you don't leave it to control you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if I go back to the instilling fear in newbies, I think warning and actually pointing out which things can be dangerous or to be avoided or to be done with care is good, as long as it doesn't turn into crippling fear and
Mm-hmm.
paralysis in life and in practice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I would also start maybe with the fact that fear is one of the first emotions that helped us actually survive and evolve. But also the courage helped us to evolve a lot. That was that kind of way how I was approaching this, let's say, dichotomy. That I was thinking that fear can hold us back from some kind of danger, but on the other hand, we need courage to move forward, to not to stagnate, to evolve, to simply get a bit forward. Yeah, what do you think, girls, about fear in general? How would you maybe approach it, or also then about the topics?
Well, I was thinking when we were talking about raising fear in the newbies, sometimes there's a little bit more powerful weapon, and that's secrecy. Actually, sometimes than to tell them something like this is going to happen to you, it's better to keep secret, not say anything, and the imagination of the newbies will do its job sometimes even better. So that's actually my experience. Yeah, because my imagination is pretty strong to create its own fears that are not usually based on anything solid, but it works pretty well. So fear is not, to return back to the theory of fear, fear is not always something that's put upon us from the outside, but something that comes from inside without any objective reason or cause. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that there are fears that we need to meet ourselves, and sometimes anyone or somebody who is already, for example, initiated into some kind of mysteries doesn't even have to tell us anything, and then the emotions and the way we are walking through the initiation or this kind of understanding the mystery is much stronger then, because of we are basically needing the courage to overcome our fears that we ourselves created. What I was a little bit pointing out in that article was that scaring newbies in the way that exactly that you're feeding their fears, that you're feeding their fantasy in this kind of direction. I believe that it's not really appropriate, and it unfortunately still happens time to time in our community. So I was just briefly talking about that. We should definitely avoid this, just to say like, hey, these are like areas that might be a little bit dangerous, but in case of mysteries, in case of some specific rituals, definitely it's better to say less sometimes and to let the imagination work. Indeed, I totally agree with you, Papa, in this. Olander, do you have some ideas for the start about fear?
Yeah, well, I agree with what you girls said. I think fear can be very useful emotion, but of course not to the point when it is actually preventing you from doing anything and it's just freezing you in a way. Um, in my practice, it is also a bit different. Like there's no like scaring newbies or anything like that, but I think maybe there should be a little bit more fear in what we do in astrology, because um, the other specter, when you don't have any doubt in yourself or any fear or anything, is, I think, also bad. Then you can have examples of astrologer who are scaring the clients, who are like 100% certain they're seeing something and they don't have any doubt or any maybe questioning themselves. I would say that in our practice there would be a fear that you're incorrect, and that is very useful fear, and I'm definitely advocating that a little bit of this fear is very useful in the practice.
Yeah, so I guess that we all agree that fear is actually quite good for some kind of self-development when it's something that we work with.
I'm actually thinking about back to the scaring of the newbies, and I'm thinking that I personally am the kind of person who will always ask you, tell me the worst that can happen, and I will get ready for it. So there is also a second side of the coin that, if done right, it can help people actually be prepared for anything. And in my practice in general, I'm very fearless. You can't scare me when it comes to like a spiritual practice, because I'm ready for anything. For me, like the scary parts are like life and existential things, which are less in my control, because there's a myriad of other things going on and happening in the world that I cannot control. But when it comes to practice, I've always approached it as, let's just prepare for the worst, and then nothing can surprise you or scare you anymore, because you know what to do in any kind of scenario.
Yes and no, in a way. Yes, to be ready for what worse can happen, and not only in like ritual and magical practice, but also in life. When I know somebody who has already some kind of experience with some situation, I definitely ask them, or I ask my mom, who can always see all the negative parts of what could happen to her little girl in her eyes. So Yes, definitely. When you are ready for divorce, it's okay. But I think that when it creates some kind of paranoia, which was the next topic, that it can really like jeopardize your practice. That can kind of hurt even your energy flow, that you are holding back, that you are constantly rather looking around like, oh, is there not some kind of happening of something that should not be happening, or present some entity that should not be present, and all these things, rather than to really focus on what you are working on. So if we can slowly move to maybe paranoia, I think that, yeah?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something, because previous to this a meeting, I had been thinking along the same lines like Datura, because I couldn't think about any event or situation where I really felt fear in connection with spirituality only once, and that was when I was in Cuba. The thing is that my curiosity is usually stronger than the fear, so. Well, and I was also very curious in Cuba, and I managed to contact a priest of Santeria, and I somehow managed to get into the Santeria shrine. And that was the first and last so far place where I felt very strong fear for many months after, just when I entered the shrine with all these bird feathers, blood everywhere, and the priest wielding a machete like that, trying to do some divination for me. So that was strong. So I realized that maybe I feel pretty safe in Europe somehow. Somehow it's my home. I don't know, but that was different. That was something completely different, and I felt very unsafe. So yes, once I felt this kind of very strong fear, but
And
not Europe.
did somebody prepare you for it? Like, did somebody scare you before? Like, did they tell you what worst can happen?
Well, I read books, so I knew pretty well, and it met my expectations. But when you read about something and when you play with your imagination, is one thing, and when you actually are there with your body, it's completely different. And of course, I was there with a group of tourists. It was not even an anthropological research, nothing like that. I had my family with me. So the only warning came from the leader of the group, who told me, you shouldn't do that if you want to go there, but I'm not going with you, never. So I said, of course I'll go, because I'm fearless. Yes, I use the same word like Dasra. And I know quite a lot about Santeria, so I'm ready. I wasn't, no.
But maybe that's also the fear of the unknown as well.
Yes, yeah, that's the fear of the unknown. But I actually encountered it only when I was there, not before. I didn't expect that, because as an anthropologist, you read a lot and you kind of think you are ready for unknown. That's the basic subject of anthropology. That's what you study. That's what you are an expert on. So I didn't expect that. I expected things. They happened, but I didn't somehow didn't know that my reaction would be so strong. And my husband, oh, he was terrified. I've never seen him so terrified in all my life.
Well, I can't really imagine it. I read a little bit of books on the topic, but I can't imagine something like that. I can get scared during some rituals, actually. It happens to me sometimes with when encountering some specific deities, and it's usually some even like opened rituals for wide public that anyone can join, and I guess that those who are there are newbies, that even though they might be talked about what is going to happen, they rather take it a little bit like a mythological drama or something like that, mostly during the time of Samhain, when working with the dark goddess and this kind of things. And I would say that especially when the dark goddess is connected to some women to whom I have a loads of respect for their path and so on, that then I can feel quite a fear, even though I don't show it ever, because I'm always thinking that it would make the whole thing much worse. Yeah, I would say that it's rather like a really deep respect. And when you know the person who is invoking the goddess, and then you meet her as a goddess, and she's different, and you know that there is that essence, then there's this kind of like a sacred kind of fear. Absolutely not a bad way of fear. I think it's something that you even should feel in that kind of situations. It happened to me in one of the examples that I mentioned in an article, and it also happened to me in Ireland when I was living there. So. Yeah, I would say that this kind of fear is there as well. There's like so many layers. There's like so many ways how to approach fear and how to see how it can be bad and how it can be good. So, what about some other experiences that we have with the fear? We were now talking with Papaver a little bit from our perspective. Datura or Olander, do you have some scary story or the story where you were scared during the ritual or magical practice? Natura already said that she's quite fearless, but is there anything?
Well, there are a couple of stories from, I don't know, 10 years ago when I wasn't that fearless because everything was new, and I guess I was very much afraid of the unknown. But back then, and I used to do a lot of like dream work and astral traveling, and I was afraid that I could die while doing astral work because I was still getting the hang of it, and I used to get like kicked into the astral somewhere where I didn't belong, like into various egregores and stuff, which are not happy when you just like barge in. So yeah, that my fear was more existential than spiritual, because I didn't know what could happen to my body if I couldn't run, for example, if I couldn't defend myself against something I wasn't prepared for because I didn't mean to actually tread there or like meet it at the moment. Yeah, but now I'm good.
Yeah, now it's all better. Yeah, I guess that like once upon few years it always comes. Like I would say that 10 years ago it was happening more often that I would get scared of something and I would not know what is happening exactly. But usually acting intuitively or instinctively worked for me and led me out of the situation always. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it will never happen again to me, since I already have a little bit more of experience. Yeah, and Olander, do you have any kind of these stories above the charts, above the astrology? Is there something that is like scary from your point of view? It doesn't have to be necessarily scary to you, but is there something that is usually creating fear in people when it's, for example, transit going over it or this kind of things from astrological perspective?
Yes, there is. I had my own chart being read by 3 different professional astrologers, and 2 of them I never mentioned that I'm also doing astrology. I just let them say what they see and what they mean. And one of them did say something that was, well, maybe scary is not real world, but negative. But I heard many experiences from other people who went to the astrologers and then had they heard something scary. They were being scared. They were being told, I don't know, yeah, some pretty extreme stuff. I can give example. A woman went to astrologer and he told her, "Oh, you were like sexually assaulted as a small kid, you don't remember it, but I can see it in the chart. And
Okay.
of course, that's like freak anyone out.
That's even
For
worse than
example-
what happened to me. Sorry to interrupt you. To me happened that the lady told me while reading my chart that I will never have children, that I just can't have children. And then I got pregnant like this. But
That's
yeah,
another
these.
example. So when somebody's telling you something for the future, which is even, you have to even be more careful about talking about future. And with such certainty, people can tell, oh, you will lose your loved one, or you will not be able to do this, or, you know, it's just, I don't know. I don't agree with that kind of practice. But yes, there are transits and planets that bring these feelings maybe of fear, and they are simply connected to it, like Saturn and Pluto. And we had that in the first issue of Femme Occulte, when I was writing about Saturn and Pluto. I did write about fear because they do represent that kind of emotions and experiences, and especially when they come together like they did at the very beginning of 2020. And I think that the events that followed only kind of prove that fear of the unknown, fear of what's going on, uncertainty, and all these emotions, panic, like they kind of confirm that this is sort of experience that happens with these planets when they come together, when they affect us globally. That is what we get. But on individual level, for one person to go and tell somebody something like that for the future, you know, there are like prophecies that come true just because person heard them, not that they would like happen no matter what you do.
So how did you feel about it? Because I'm sure you are careful when talking to your clients about the future, but when it happened to you, when you had something negative, how did you take it?
As a client, or when I'm talking?
Yeah, you said that you had your chart read by 3 different astrologers, and one of them put something negative into it. So how did you feel?
Yes, so at that time I was 25, I was much younger, and it took me, I would say, even more than a year. I was thinking about it. It was just sitting with me. I was feeling uncertain. I didn't accept it straight away. I was feeling uncertain, but with time, I kind of, maybe that is, well, I wouldn't call it a courage, but with time, I just decided I'm going to go my way. I'm going to do my thing, and I'm just going to accept whatever comes, but I'm going to do my best to avoid, let's say, the scary scenario, but I'm going to be fine with it no matter what. So it took time, a long time, but I wasn't scared out of situation itself.
Okay.
Well, when I got this kind of negative message, I was quite like perplexed as well for a while. And for a while, I saw this prophecy to coming through in my relationships, but I was never with a partner with whom we would be trying to have a baby. It never got to that point with anyone. So I was like, yeah, that's exactly the thing. Like it's being postponed, and like one day it will really not come. Oh, hello, new follower. Welcome, and thank you everyone who started following us meanwhile in between our chats from last week and this one. Yeah, so, but I was also talking to my husband now, about this and about that I'm a bit concerned, and that we should probably like start trying the baby about at least half year before we want me to get pregnant, and I get pregnant immediately. And yeah. So
That happened to me twice.
I took I took it as a warning, as something to work on exactly. And yeah, I was scared of that, and I was taking like, okay, to be ready for this option in my life as well. Yeah, and yeah, I was ready enough. Okay. Oh, so League of Legends 17, who's our new follower, is asking, hello, I'm new to witchcraft. Is it like WandaVision? Does anyone here know what is WandaVision? You can have visions when you practice witchcraft, but I'm not sure if it can be visions of Wanda.
Oh,
Maybe.
I'm Googling it. It's a TV show, apparently.
Okay.
I see.
and quite new. So I guess it's fine that we don't know about it.
Oh, John is knowledgeable. He knows that it's Marvel.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I think we are definitely working as well with some kind of like Marvel magic and fantasy, but definitely it doesn't look as cool as in the movies. And we have here another follower. Hello, bring it to the altar, 17. I guess that you two might be friends since both of you are 17 on the end, or it's just a coincidence. Yeah, well, my brain just escaped somewhere. Oh, we have another follower. It's Meliu. Okay, I guess that Twitch just put us somewhere in like just chatting window. So we were a little bit visible now and more people join us. So hello and thank you for follow. Yeah, and I would maybe move a little bit to the thing that you already opened, Datura, a little bit when you were talking about the dreams and so on. I have here another topic that is connected to your article, actually, about dreams. So do you think that dreams are mirroring our fears and that they are just like bringing them from our subconscious in some kind of funny way? I'd say I will give you a word, Datura, since your article was what brought me to this question.
Well, yes, and yes and no, in the sense that, of course, dreams will mirror a lot of things that happen in your life, but I don't think necessarily dreams are based on your fears, but they will, of course, mirror them. If you have them, if you think about something a lot, of course, it will get processed in your brain. And sometimes it can help you deal with the fear through the dream, for example. Sometimes it can make it worse through it, in my opinion.
Did it ever happen to you, girls, anyone, that you would actually find a solution to some kind of things that was scary for you? You can think about it for a minute. We have a question here in our chat. If we can make a love potion, who can make a love potion?
Will we though?
And Oleander will find us the best timing for your love potion to take it. What would the hag?
Yeah.
Papa just got frozen.
Just wanted to say that maybe I would be able to make it, but I would feel a lot of fear in giving it to anyone. Actually, I'm not such a good cook, and I'm not a very good potion maker, so.
It depends on the kind of the love potion. If you mix oysters and chocolate, then it's quite safe. Maybe disgusting, but but safe.
Oh, I know this super disgusting potion for love as well. That is actually quite scary, since our today topic is fear. Marcela Koshanova, one of the very, very known Czech witches, who is unfortunately already passed on. I'm not sure if I'm saying this word correctly. Passed out?
Died. Passed away.
Passed away.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Passed away.
I just wanted to say it nicely and I couldn't find a word. Oh, man. Okay. She advised her readers to carry a cube of sugar in your armpit, is it?
Mm-hmm.
And then put it to a tea of the man whom you want to be in love with you and passionate. So a little bit of fear when you're going for a date with a witch is definitely good.
Not very romantic.
Yeah. We have here a comment that will be denied in a second. But I would kind of clarify it for the person. The person is asking what does one specific kind of dream means. Okay, Igdotter already deleted it, so I can't answer it. Sorry, sorry. But I wanted to avoid that. I wanted to avoid that word that was there. But yeah. Anyway. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's Melio is asking that it would be for her stepsister and if it would work. Well, the rule number one, if you want a change, then you make a change for yourself. never make a change for someone else, from my point of view, at least. Yeah, so I would say that the stepsister should start searching for information in these things herself. That's probably the main thing. I would have fear to do something like that for someone else, because I might be manipulating what they actually really want to, because I can't feel what they actually want to, and so on. Yeah, well, but I believe that I jumped into word to somebody, didn't I?
Before we restart, I would just like to say to the chat that we appreciate your comments very much, but we will not be discussing any adult content and topics. So don't even try.
Well, we even can't. It's not really allowed on the Twitch platform in this kind of extent. That's why the comment didn't pop out. That's why the robot already said, like, hey, this is itchy. Do you girls have a stream schedule? Well, usually we are streaming on Sundays at 5 p.m. Prague, Berlin time, which is 4 p.m. Dublin?
Yes.
Yeah. And John has a question. I want to ask you about fear and Femme Occulte. Do you feel fear when you write some article about dangerous topic? And did you feel fear when you started this project?
That's a nice one.
That's a very nice one. No, I'm not scared when I'm writing articles. Sometimes I'm scared that that girls will say something like, "Oh, this is really bad. Like, you can write much better," or or so. But it doesn't really happen. So yeah, we are all quite self-reflective, I would say.
Well, I'm afraid. That's why I put disclaimers on all my articles.
Oh yeah. That's true. Yeah, Datura does it this way. Like, hey, here's a disclaimer on the beginning. I'm usually talking a lot about like just use your common sense. Careful, this might be dangerous. Don't burn yourself over the candle and this kind of stuff. I think that is important. But we could ask about this Oleander and Papaver, who are writing for us as well. So Oleander is writing for us a little bit longer. Are you scared when writing articles for Femme Occulte?
No. And I was very excited to start this project. So at the beginning, I was very happy to write. And after a year, I experienced like a period of doubt, but that wasn't in connection to Femme Occulte. It was in connection to me generally and what I'm doing. And again, I think in astrology, fear is more connected to doubt, to just question yourself all the time. And is it, is this the right thing? Are you doing it properly? Do you know enough? Are you sure in what you're saying? Is this true? These kind of questions. And I think, I'm not sure which one, but I know one of you girls already wrote, maybe even both of you, Datura and Cori, about that dark night. And in every practice, there comes a point where you feel stuck or you can't move on. And it's not really fear, but it is something that is making you stop. But if you stop, and my philosophy was just stop for the time you are unsure, and when you feel better, when you know more, then proceed. And that's what I did. So.
And I believe that you absolutely brilliantly worked this topic of your doubts about astrology into your spring article. It was epic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Papaver?
I don't feel fear when I'm writing, not at all. I love it, and I especially love the research before that. So my fear is basically that I won't get any creative ideas, that I won't be able to hand in the article in time, or that you won't like what I'm writing. So these kinds of fears that are somehow connected with the writing, but not writing itself. I'm not really writing so far about dangerous things, but who knows what comes later.
Yeah. I myself also don't feel that I would be writing about many dangerous things. Maybe by Datura it's a bit different, since she writes also about plants that can be dangerous to physical health and mental as well. But I'm sometimes scared that my information is that there's something that is not correct. So my fear is usually fighted by my bookshelf. Yeah. And
Just but where to find? Yeah, sorry.
yeah, tell me.
Just where to find the balance before just rely on the book so much that you only copy the books. You want to bring in something that's yours, and then comes in the doubt. Yes, I guess we all have it, right? I'm not the only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just go back for a minute to my articles because, as you mentioned, my fear is not really of like writing about dangerous topics. It's because I write about mostly like, or not mostly, but very often about deadly like plants and how to use them in a practice. So I'm afraid. However, I still think that I write the articles in the spirit of revealing the unknown. And if you don't know about the plant, it can hurt you much more than if you know about it and know about what it does, how it's constituted, what's in it, how it's been used. So it's again the scaring newbies, but in an informative kind of way, so that there is no unknown to be feared, that there is confidence.
Yeah.
Just to my mind, that's a saying that I overheard among witches, that a good witch, if she wants to know how to heal, he needs to know how to kill. Yeah, so that's probably along these lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, to have the knowledge is never bad, and as long as it's not really putting into head some fantasies that are damaging the practice of the newbie. Definitely to to give information and to even raise some red flags, what can be weird. I'm sorry, we just got deleted several messages. I'm not sure by whom it was. Maybe it was by our other technical support. Anyway, we have here plenty of questions. Meanwhile, we had here plenty of questions by our last follower. It's Melio, and I guess that she or he exceeded to too many messages. Maybe that's why it was deleted. So sorry about that. There were some questions about witches, wizards, if there are also wizards. So yes, there are male witches who are usually calling themselves witches as well in English language. In Czech language, we have plenty of different words for that. I don't know how is it in Croatian. Oleander, you might share with us. Do you have more words, or do you also have just witch for men and women and all the other gender?
There is a witch and male witch. There is something like enchantress,
Yeah,
and then like wizard, like Harry Potter wizard. So we have like these three that I can remember. Probably there's more.
Yeah, and then we have here a question by League of Legends 17. Who are Cancers most compatible with? Well, I'd say it will be a question for you, Leanders, again.
I don't know.
Repeat the question, please. I didn't get it.
The question was, who are Cancers most compatible with? And our main astrologer says, I don't know. And I understand why, because that's not enough information. We need to know much more to find a compatibility between two partners or between more people. And I just got a message from our tech support that there was some racist comments. So that's why so many disappeared. Yeah. Well, anyway.
I have a question, girls. So, did you ever experience that somebody else is afraid about what you're doing, or because of your practice, or whatever? Because I have recently been a part of conversation. It was very casual, friendly meeting, and somebody mentioned to our new friends that I'm doing astrology, and the old woman in the room were very much interested, and they had loads of questions, and all the men in the room were like, oh no, stop, no, don't even go there, I don't want to know anything, don't tell her anything, my girlfriend will not have any questions answered. So there was this, I think it was a fear, but in the sense of maybe misunderstanding or lack of knowledge or something like that, but there was this kind of fearful reaction.
Yeah,
Okay, it reminds me, if you know the character from Terry Pratchett, Granny Weatherwax,
Yes.
Granny Weatherwax, and she never feels fear because she knows she's the most terrible person in the
woods.
So we are talking about fear and what we fear, but we are actually the ones to be feared, or sometimes we are. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so the technical support just told us what was the question before about, but I would just like to kind of answer that anyone can become a witch. It doesn't matter your gender, your culture, your shade, nothing. Yeah. But I believe, Olander, that you were talking about that somebody got scared of you as an astrologist, if I got it right. This is basically my biggest fear as a person. People who fear me for being a witch, because those people, with their imagination, not being knowledgeable enough what it is, what I'm doing, or what does it mean to be a witch. Those are the most dangerous ones in my life and always were. Yeah. So I just wanted to add this to your talk. Do you have any experience like that as well from your life? Well,
Are you asking me?
and anyone. I guess that in Czech Republic it's kind of easy. I never had really big problems with that, and I just could avoid people if they had any problems with that. In Ireland, when I lived in Ireland, where Olander lives, it was also kind of okay. Most of people were rather excited what is it all about, and really wanted the information and so on. But here in Germany, I don't really have very good experience. I have really a lot of experiences when people felt fear, and from that fear were acting not really in a moral way, I would say. Anyway, we have here more questions. So how do you become a witch? You have to overcome your fears, since we have this topic here. Yeah, do you think that as a witch you need to overcome your fears? That's maybe a good question. Yeah,
I think so because as a witch or somebody who is a spiritual practitioner, because we keep using the term witch, but I, for example, don't call myself a witch. But you have to overcome fears because you're delving into a new territory, and to become something, you first of all have to start working or walking towards it. To answer the comment as well, you have to work to become something, be it a witch or not a witch. Of course, practically it would be literature, but generally it would be you have to start practicing. You have to actually start doing the witchcraft or the magic or spiritual journey and actually experience it and live it. And for that, a person needs to be, to a degree, fearless.
I as well quite a lot and quite often write or talk about crossing the borders of your comfort zone in your self-development, but also in magic and in witchcraft. Would you like to say anything to it, Papa Ver or Olander, before I will move to another question?
Maybe yes. Maybe I think this should be a very natural process, not like deciding that I will be a witch. It's not like I will be a runner and then I somehow push myself into running. It means that you really want to run, and when you really love running and then practice a lot, then you're a runner. And I think in witchcraft it's something like that. You just have to, it should flow from you quite naturally. Then the practice and training and everything is absolutely necessary, but it should be a natural process.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say pushing a borders just like very gently, but to overcome a little bit that comfort, to have this kind of developing way, step by step. Yeah, from my point of view, I hope that I related correctly to what you were talking about, because the chat is being filled with the questions, and so I'm just floating between. I just wanted to answer to the League of Legends 17 a little bit more to the depth, because he or she was writing that I'm sorry for not giving enough information about the cancer person. There are definitely websites where you can just write someone's birthday, and then you write there your birthday, and then it shows you some kind of comparison, which is very, very, very crazy. Crazy circle with loads of lines and loads of symbols, but under it is usually written how does it work. But always in real life, it is quite possible that it is also quite different, because those charts, Olander, correct me if I'm wrong, those charts are showing how were we born, how was it on the sky when we were born in that moment, and we were developing during our all life, and we had different experiences. So the people could shift a little bit from what you might expect from them based on the chart. Yeah, and then it's Melio is asking us more questions, and a very interesting one is also, are witches satanic or demonic? And there are definitely witches like that, and I think that Datura could tell us a little bit also. Like, have you ever because you are the ceremonial mage here, yeah? So I imagine ceremonial magic to be like angels, but also demons. So, yeah, what is the like? Is there some kind of fear, or you should be super fearless to show the demon or angel that you are worth their presence and their work for you?
I understand those two questions in two different ways. Either the question is whether being a witch is bad. It isn't.
It isn't.
That's done. or or whether there are currents of witchcraft that work with either satanic or demonic forces, which there are. In ceremonial magic, you usually work with the Abrahamic egregore in general, because ceremonial magic mostly stems from the Renaissance and from basically like Christian Europe. So you're always in the Abrahamic tradition one way or another. There are, of course, like traditional witchcraft paths that do sign deals with the devil to receive their powers and their craft. So there are witches who actually like go to a crossroad and then make an agreement with, they call him the man in black, or whichever entity it is in that specific type of culture that represents not the devil himself as in Satan, but the devil as in the opposite of what Christians view as the right thing to do, which is not witchcraft, if that makes any sense. So I don't know if that answers the question or if I made it more complicated.
Well, you definitely gave some more information, which is always good. It's always good. Then let's just hope that it is then translated and delivered by the other people, by the people who will be listening to our chat now and who will be listening on YouTube to the recording, because that's another of scary, dangerous, fear-related things for me, that in communication, either with deity or with another human being, that there's some kind of message which is received but translated a little bit differently. Yeah, and that can happen anytime as well. Is there a school for witches? Well, I would say that there are some different courses on the topic of witchcraft, or even some like basic schools of some basic knowledge on witchcraft. But then there's also Femme Occulte.
And Hogwarts.
Yeah, well, so since we have here a few new followers who might just found us by accident, we are actually creators with another amazing people of articles, of chapters of a quarterly magazine called Femme Occulte. You can find us anywhere on socials as Femme Occulte, and you can also find us on the website www.femmeocculte.com, where we have our summer issue right now available for pre-orders and so on. So yeah, you can learn from our articles, or you can enrich yourself, inspire yourself, get more information, get some information about our practice, about stuff that is checked with sources, and also about our personal gnosis, plus about witchcraft related to the nature and eclectic witchcraft. Yes, we are shipping also to Australia. Ceremonial magic and deadly herbs and other herbs that can be used in practice. That's Datura. Then we have here our astrologer, which is Oleander, and Papaver is writing about Kabbalah. And then we have another plants in our garden that are writing about other things as well. Yeah, so that's us. We are not a school for witches, but we are definitely trying to be focused on the Zoom because I just disappeared from the camera. We are definitely trying to put out some information for other practitioners and other people, and make them happy and make their lives lovely through our articles. So John Gord is asking, do you fear of negative reactions from people? Like, what will people say? Like this thing? Well, I'm a YouTuber for 9 and something years, or nearly 9 years, so not really. When you are a YouTuber, you just get used to it, step by step, drop by drop of poison. Like, yeah.
I know, it sounds horrible.
When you are a YouTuber for the first year, you are just seeing that notification that you got a comment, and you are just waiting, how hateful will it be? And then it just suddenly stops touching you. Well, when we get a negative reaction, or at least when I get a negative reaction, I'm if it's not full of emotions and like without any kind of information, I'm trying to review the criticism, to check it out, to double check my information. It rather motivates me to find more about the topic, to be more knowledgeable, to feel it again through myself, to confirm that I feel it that way. And John is adding, yes, what will people say when they find out that you are a witch? That's a different story for me. So, but I'm like talking, chatting. So I should give you also some space, guys. So would you like to talk about this? For example, you, Papaver, if you don't mind, because you used to work as a university teacher. So was it like a funny border there?
Well, at the university itself, it was a bit funny in a way. Sometimes I got news that some students told other students that these students told other students that I'm actually a Satanist and that I do black magic and things like that. But it's more in the academia where I still work when I go to conferences, not this year and the past year, but maybe in the future again. And I meet other academics, and they suspect when they know my work, which I write very carefully, I don't really reveal too much. They fear that I go too deep. And some who know, they don't want to know more. They just don't ask. Whether when I write about Wiccans and about Wiccan rituals, and I don't say I go to those rituals, but at the same time I say that I do field work and participant observation. So it's basically 1 + 1, but no one wants to answer that. So it's kind of blurry pretending. something that everybody knows anyway, but they don't want to speak about it because it's strange. There's something like the information that I is very useful, because without the field work and being there, I wouldn't have the information at all. At the same time, there's this feeling that being there makes me not a full academic anymore, if you know what I mean. Like an academic should get the information in another way, but there are some kinds of information that you simply can't get in another way.
Yeah, I can absolutely relate.
Yes, but there is a third area of information that's secret, so you get it and you can't publish it anyway.
Yeah, but there's also that's what I had a lot when I was on university studying religious studies, that there are some feelings and this kind of fear that I was trying to express or that I was trying to talk about on the beginning, that you just can't get through books or through just being there and observe what is happening there. You just need to go through it yourself, and then you know. But you can never put it to the paper exactly, but then you know. And suddenly you understand also this kind of spiritual experience from other religions, from other people who met different deities or went through different experience, but that experience is in a way similar. That feelings that it created are similar. Yeah, so I totally agree with that.
Because like you, I wanted to know, but there are other anthropologists who play it safe.
Yeah.
And don't go for it and interview witches and get a lot of funny information because witches.
Witches.
Yeah, because witches. And I just sit there and laugh.
Yeah.
So you can believe that, okay.
Yeah. And what about you, Olander? You already mentioned how some people reacted on you being an astrologist, but...
Yes, well, in my private life, I'm more maybe reserved about it, and that's not something that I say to people when I meet them. And maybe because I'm coming from a different background, I know the Czech Republic is quite maybe less traditional than my own country, where people are still thinking certain ways, and there's simply no space open for discussions about this topic, and it just wouldn't even be comfortable or safe to do it. So I don't do it at home. Like my family, of course, like knows what I'm doing, and I explain to close people. I share whatever they want to know. But I just am maybe aware of impact that it could have, like, on other people. So, and as in example that I gave, so people who react like that negatively, they usually have very little knowledge about actual topic, and it would take a lot of energy and a lot of time and talking seriously about it to actually, like you, Corey, said, when you give a message, but message gets translated, somebody can hear it differently. It takes a lot of energy and time to actually explain what you mean by what you say, and people don't usually actually have that much interest or patience to listen to you. So I just don't engage when I see that person is maybe not that much genuinely curious and interest. I just don't engage at all.
Yeah.
Just to save my energy and time.
Yeah, I have basically absolutely the same approach. Like, I'm not waving in front of people with that I'm witch. The only thing is that whenever I'm on the first date, because there was a question about first date related to something a little bit different, but whenever I'm on the first date, I say like, hey, I'm doing witchcraft. So if you have some problem with that, just save your money, ciao. Like, save your time, save your money, choose.
Well, I will maybe close this question because I live my life in a completely opposite way. I'm absolutely out and about magical practice, and it's the first thing anybody will know about me, because I don't have personal social media. I only have like my work stuff, which is also like spiritually colored. I even have a whole room basically. If I bring somebody to my home,
Yeah.
they will know that I'm a practitioner. So I tend to be completely open about it. Everybody knows. And I'm finding that the more open I am about it, the more I just meet people who are open to it the same. So I have never had a negative reaction to anybody finding out I'm a witch, because I usually don't meet people who are not open to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
like you.
So I'm not afraid even for the reactions to people, because it just brings stuff out, and brings like-minded people.
Yeah, yeah. I had that in Czech Republic as well, but yeah, in other countries not that much. Anyway, we were discussing that we could have a little break because we are talking already for an hour, or we could slowly wrap it up. It's up to you. I will just check what we have here, or if you have any more questions in the chat. Yeah, we have here also the topics of women mysteries, gate keys, and hedgecraft. If you would like to continue, or we can leave it to some other chat if you would like to, because the topic of courage will be now the main topic for several months. And the chat is not sending more questions, so what do you think, girls? Do you have anything else that you would like to share to the topic of fear and courage today? That we would just, yeah?
I think it was like nicely wrapped for one day, and I'm sure we can return to it on another week into more depth, because there is stuff that is connected to fear as women's mysteries, and as you noticed, which perhaps even wants its own hour.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah. Okay, yeah, well, so I'll be looking forward to see you guys in the chat, to see you guys on the meet, and to see everyone also on our YouTube or on our website. And thank you for a lovely evening. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.